Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. All praise to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. Now, to understand the Gentiles in the New Testament, you got to understand that the nation of Israel was scattered among the nations. Now, Peter was quoted in Acts chapter 15 by James, but this was right after Paul and Barnabas was giving a testimony of what they was experiencing. But when you go to Acts 15 verse 12, it said, "Then all the multitude kept silence and gave audience to Barnabas and Paul, declaring what miracles and wonders God had wrought among the Gentiles by them." Verse 13, "And after they had held their peace, James answered, saying, Men and brethren, hearken unto me." Now, James, when you go to James 1:1, he gave you the whole key to understanding who the Gentiles were. In James 1:1 it says, "James, a servant of God and of the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad." So he let you know what the main idea of the people that they was trying to reach. The 12 tribes that are scattered abroad. But when he got up to talk after Paul and Barnabas, in verse 14 of chapter, in Acts 15 verse 14, James said, "Simon has declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles, to take out of them a people for his name." Verse 15, "And to this all the words of the prophets as it is written." So he say, Peter declared how the Gentiles was going to be taken, or it was going to be a people taken out of the Gentile, to take out of them a people, out of the Gentiles a people. Now, what is this people that's going to be taken out of the Gentiles? Well, when you go to verse 15, it says, "And to this agree the words of the prophets." Well, you got to know the prophets. You just can't pick up the New Testament and go to reading and hear Gentiles. You ain't going to know what's going on. You got to know what the prophets was saying. What was they declaring? What was they prophesying about? Now, verse 16 talks about the house of David being rebuilt. So that's an easy indicator, because we know the house of David is the tribe of Judah, the Israelites. Now, verse 17 is also another verse to give you understanding. They say that the residue of men might seek after the Lord, and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called. So not the Gentiles, not all the Gentiles, but all the Gentiles of whom his name is called. And his name was only called on the nation of Israel. He surnamed them. He named them Israel. And that's another video in itself. Now, when you go to verse 19, he lets you know again. He say, "Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned to God." So these individuals was from among the Gentiles. You see, they wasn't the Gentiles. They was from among the Gentiles. And see, that's why you got to know the prophets, because that phrase "among the Gentiles" is all through the prophets. And it was always talking about the Israelites that was scattered among the Gentiles or the nations. Now, when you go to verse 23 Same chapter 15 of Acts. It says, and we wrote letters by them after this manner, the apostles and elders and brethren, sending greetings unto the brethren which are of the Gentiles in Antioch, Syria, and Caesarea. So the same situation. They were sending greetings to the brethren which are of the brethren means the family, our bloodline, our brothers, our blood brothers, that which are of the Gentile. That's who the apostles and the elders was writing to, sending letters to. That's who James sent his letters to. And that's who James, when he quoted Peter, that's what it was all about. Taking the people out of the Gentile. That was among the Gentile. Now let's get a few precepts out of the prophets. Out of the prophets, let's get some precepts out of the prophets. We're going to start with King David, because he was a prophet along with being a king. He wasn't just a king, he was a prophet. Let's go to Psalms 106, verse 47. 106, verse 47 of Psalms. It say, save us, O Lord our God, and gather us from among the heathens, or from among the Gentiles, to give thanks unto thy holy name, to triumph in thy praise. So this was something that was always through the scriptures. The next chapter repeats itself. In Psalms 107, starting at verse 2. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom he has redeemed from the hand of the enemy. Verse 3, and gathered them out of the lands, from the east, from the west, and the north, and the south. You see, his redeemed was the nation of Israel. And those who he redeeming was the righteous out of the nation of Israel, the elect, and he was gathering from the lands of their enemies. So this is all through the prophets. Let's go to Ezekiel 39:27. Ezekiel 39:27, because it's a future prophecy. It's a future prophecy. With 39:27. And it reads, when I have brought them again from the people, and gathered them out of their enemies' land, and I'm sanctified in them in the sight of many nations. So the Gentiles is gonna see when the Israelites are gathered. That's what the next verse says in 28. Then shall they know that I am the Lord their God, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen, or among the Gentiles. But I have gathered them unto their own lands. So he gonna bring the Israelites to their own land again. But he put them among the Gentiles, so he's gonna gather them out from among the Gentiles. Okay, that's Ezekiel. We got King David. Let's go to Isaiah and see what Isaiah got about the. Now Isaiah, he got one of the best ones, and his coincide with Peter, or James quoted Peter, because it was very specific. The scriptures that they was quoting was very detailed. Now when you go to Isaiah 43, starting at verse 5, he say, fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed from the east, and gather thee from the west. I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from afar, and my daughters from the ends of the earth. And this is what James quoted from Peter, verse 7. Even every one that is called by my name. You see? So these are the sons and the daughters that's called by his name, O Jacob, O Israel. You see? So the scattered was the Israelites. And they was called by his name. Those are the Gentile that's called by his name. And they got that in Amos 9:9, where it talks about it. In Zephaniah. Let's go to Zephaniah real quick. Let's go to Zephaniah, because it will give you good detail. Zephaniah 3, verse 19. Behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halted, and gather her that was driven out. And I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. You see? That is how he's gonna gather the nation of Israel out of every land that they was put to shame. These other nations, these Gentiles, these heathen, the so-called Edomites, the Moabites, the Hamites, the Ishmaelites, none of them was put to shame in somebody else's land. Only the Israelites was put to shame in other people's land because they was in captivity in other people's land. The blacks, the Hispanics, and Native Americans in America is in somebody's land. They're not the rulers of this land. They're slaves. They was brought here on slave ships. The Native Americans and the Hispanics, they was took into Spain on slave ships. You see, they not being famous in their own land. They're famous in somebody else's land. You see, and they being put to shame because their people, all of their people, is under a curse. And they look a hot mess. But I'm gonna leave it there. Bring out some more precepts on another video. All praise to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rekakadash. Double honor to the elders, pushing the truth to the youth. Peace to the elect worldwide. Death to America, death to these red dragons. Shalom.